former Playboy Playmate of the Year, an adult film actress, Donald Trump's former right-hand man. Those are just a few of the cast of potential witnesses the prosecution could call to the stand to build this case in front of a jury being selected as we speak. So, what piece of the puzzle could each of their testimony fill in? I want to bring in former Brooklyn prosecutor and MSNBC legal analyst Charles Coleman. Great to have you here. Let's start with Stormy Daniels. She is the woman at the center of this. Absolutely. She has said she is ready.
You don't have a case if you don't have Stormy Daniels. She is arguably the most important person that they're going to hear from when you're thinking about the jury. And as a prosecutor, your job is to tell a story. And you have to sell a story to the jury that's being picked right now as we speak. Stormy Daniels is an example of a witness, in fact, being central to the case, but also helping to give context to the actual story. I expect to hear from her earlier than late in terms of the prosecution in their case in chief, primarily because with respect to the documents, those things are going to bore you. They're not going to engage the jury. They're essential to your case, and so you will see the prosecution ultimately put them on. But Stormy Daniels is going to immediately give you a flavor for what this case is about. It's going to draw the jury in. It's going to actually, be a little sensational if we're being honest about it, because you're talking about the president and the playmate, and this is the playmate. But ultimately, without her, you don't have a case. And so she's going to lay the foundation for what Donald Trump actually did wrong.
So $130,000 in hush money. Right. Then if you go to Karen McDougal, another case of a woman who claims she had nearly a year-long affair with the former president, also says she got a payoff.
I actually, if I was prosecuting a case, would start with Karen McDougal, because Stormy Daniels is that sort of home run witness. But Karen McDougal is going to help tell the story. She's going to help, like I said, give the jury a sense of what is actually happening. But it's not necessarily your star witness, so you still have a lead up and a build up, which is what you would wait to have Stormy Daniels testify for. She's also someone who is going to basically help corroborate not only Ms. Daniels' story, but the overall theme that the prosecution is attempting to advance in front of the jury, to say, look, this is what Donald Trump and his group of folks were doing. It was a catch and kill situation, and this is why she's an important witness, to establish this pattern and corroborate the testimony of the other witnesses as well.
Then you have Michael Cohen, the man who is being called the star witness, the guy who says he's going to lay out exactly what happened, what was going on behind the scenes. The defense will say he's a liar. Somebody who's experienced in court will say it's hard to find a criminal case where there isn't someone who maybe has a past that isn't lily white. But here we go. Michael Cohen, is he positive or negative if you're prosecutor Alvin Bragg?
If you're a prosecutor, Michael Cohen was negative, then he became positive, then he became negative again. What do I mean by that? When you start out with Michael Cohen, he has a lot of credibility issues that you're going to have to address. You know that he's going to jail for lying, which is something that you can't necessarily get worse in terms of someone you want your jury to believe. But then he began to rehabilitate himself. And then you have the documents on top of that you can use to corroborate what it is that he's saying in terms of establishing that he's telling the truth and his testimony is viable. But he has been on a media tour that has sort of damaged that as well, because he's come across in many respects like he has an axe to grind. And that's something that I expect the defense is going to lean into quite heavily in terms of the things that he said during television interviews and on podcasts. And so, like I said, he went from being negative to positive to negative again. But it's something that I do think the prosecution can overcome if they use the corroborating evidence that they have to support his testimony.
The evidence shows that the National Enquirer regularly did catch and kill, that there were relationships between this man, David Pecker, celebrities, people like Donald Trump, who he is apparently going to acknowledge. He wanted to squash this story. As one former employee said, he knows where the bodies are buried.
He does, and this is why he's an important witness. Now, the question will be, can the prosecution, to whatever extent that they're able to, elicit why, particularly in the case of Stormy Daniels, because that is a part of Alvin Bragg's case. It's not necessarily essential to his burden of proof. It doesn't require, the charges do not require that Alvin Bragg establish the purpose of the catch and kill. In this instance, was connected to Access Hollywood. It's the story that they're selling, but it's not required by law. So, yes, you're absolutely right. This is someone who is going to really get into the details for the prosecution in terms of exactly what was the purpose for this. The question will become, in this instance, as it relates to Stephanie Clifford, aka Stormy Daniels, was it about the Access Hollywood tape and also trying to avoid the fallout with respect to the 2016 election?
Charles Coleman, it's great to be here in the big part of the studio with you. Thank you so much.
Hey everyone, MSNBC has a new and improved app. You'll get real-time alerts and analysis, live blogs, in-depth essays, video highlights, and the best 2024 election coverage. Download the new MSNBC app. Here's how to do it. You tap on the App Store on your phone. You hit search on the bottom right corner. You type in MSNBC. You click on the MSNBC app. You click on Get or the cloud icon and enjoy it.